Well, welcome to another edition of the Digicel Sports Show right here on Islandstats.com. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and joining me yet again is Jason Juggling J. Ford. I don't know why Jason will be holding his shirt. It's a lovely breeze here, and we have a very interesting show for you today. Jay, your thoughts on today's show?
Bermuda shirt.
Bermuda shirt. A wonderful day in Bermuda. We'll have more after this message from our
7 days
sponsor.
7 days.
Bermuda, listen up. D-Music is here exclusively for Digicel customers. Open up a world of music at your fingertips and access millions of songs from free. With D-Music, you can easily search for your favorite artists and create playlists to fit your lifestyle. Plus, you have the option to download music to your device so you can find a song for any moment, even when offline. D-Music comes with 1 gig of free data to stream and download songs without it impacting your data usage. That's 32 hours worth of music. Visit us in-store or online to see how you can get D-Music today.
7 days.
7 days, actually 8 days. 8 days before the EastEnders get hold of the cup.
To take a picture.
Oh yeah, there'll be a lot of pictures taken.
Oh, yeah.
Be a lot of pictures taken when Mackay Simmons is presented the trophy by Governor George Rankin.
I just brought a couple of new packages of 5 solo cups. I'll give you a couple of them.
Oh, you be solo. You will be solo. Because you're talking big about your team, and St. George's don't have this and George's don't have that. You guys are going to want to be so low under the ground after you lose that those cups will be the ones to dig you back up.
Okay, so after a couple of stories, when we get into a cup match story, let's break down the teams a bit. How's that?
They ain't been picked. How are you going to break them down?
You want to wait till next week?
Yeah, we have to wait till next week. When the teams are picked, we will then discuss the teams. I'm not discussing a team. I don't know who you're picking. We're going to have 11.
Players on the team.
We'll have 11.
So our top story is today.
Well, interesting news, Jay. Obviously, the news that Nakia Wells at Huddersfield, things are not well right now. The manager, David Wagner, has been quoted as saying if real offers come in for Wells, Huddersfield will listen to those. You notice they've brought a few strikers who have started. As you notice, Nakia out through an ankle injury all preseason, hasn't played. He's trained a little bit with the team, so it's got to be a worrying time for him and his management team, as well as his family, because and the dream of playing in the Premiership. We know a couple of months ago Bermuda was on a high because people were looking to buy Huddersfield jerseys, looking to buy tickets.
They brought Huddersfield jerseys.
Some people were still looking to find them, but
sales went up.
Yeah, looking to go to particular games, but this might all.
Yeah, when we looked at the end of last season, and we talked about what Huddersfield will need to compete in the Premiership. One of these was strikers, a need for strikers. But obviously they put Nakia in competition, and tough competition, because they're going to be looking for somebody, a big name striker who's going to be getting paid a lot of money. So they're going to have to play him.
Right.
Also, keep in mind, the contract
is up at the end of this season.
So if they're going to
make anything from him, they would have to do something within this year. Right.
And him picking up an injury.
Yes, yeah.
So things haven't really gone Nakia's way regarding that.
Right.
There's still hope.
Yes.
But it's got to be worrying times, like you did say, because around this time of the year, just before these leagues start, which will be starting in approximately a month. Let's say less than a month.
Less than a month.
You're looking at teams trying to finalize a squad, but also a B squad.
Yes.
You find some guys who, along with Nakia, the major teams, have injuries.
Yes.
And contract disputes.
Yes.
That's still going on with even the top teams we're talking about.
Yeah.
And we even talk about Chelsea with Diego Costa. They still haven't made a decision with, and just think of his top class world player.
Right.
So in saying that, there is still some chance that he could be brought by a Premiership team, which we would love to see.
Right.
And we probably go buy this jerseys too. But in saying that, it's definitely going to be uphill battle because of the injury, I believe. More than anything, it's the injury because, when he gets on the field, that's when you actually see Nakee's worth. If you just put his name and his height and his weight and on paper, it's not really that impressive, is it?
No, it's not.
But when he gets on the field, you see his worth.
Yes.
And I think until Nakee actually gets on the field, because every time he's had a challenge from a team or whatever, once he's gotten on the field, he's played himself into the team.
Right.
I can't remember the last time that he was automatically put on a team. Most of the teams he's been to the last few years, he's actually had to play himself into the team. So it's going to be interesting. We'll definitely keep our ears and eyes and everything else open.
It's interesting, though, the team that they beat in the playoff final is the one that's chasing him the most. Obviously, they
wonder why.
They see a need, and obviously they lost a striker to Huddersfield, and I guess they're looking for an exchange. So,
but that would mean obviously going back down to the
championship. But for Nakee, if it means getting more playing time, I think the smart thing would be to.
And I think, to be honest, if that happens, you just said it. I think that would be the ideal situation, because I believe if he once again rises to the challenge to get back in the Premiership or to play in the Premiership, I think he could be the next transfer window, or even transfer window after that, the late transfer window. I think he can get into that because players pick up knocks all through the year. And if he's on form, they come at a person who's on form. So be interesting, and his contract will be at a minimum compared to a top tier team. Right. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, would be so much. But good luck to Nakee, Huddersfield, and how it all pans out.
Come on, Huddersfield.
We will actually bring it to you. Hopefully it works out well, that Nakee does eventually play in the Premiership, and hopefully for Huddersfield, because he's worked hard to help them get to where they are. And it'll be a disappointment not only for him but a lot of Huddersfield fans if for some reason or the other Nakee Wells could not be part of their 17-18 season. Yeah. Well, we're to that point. Cup match time in Bermuda. We are a week away from the Classic that will take place at the Wellington Oval in St. George. Juggler's talking about I'm nervous. I'm not nervous. I have nothing to lose.
No, you don't.
But I know one thing's for sure. Somerset, with the team they have, or the team that you have talked about them having, you believe there's no way possible for them to lose?
I did not say that.
I'm asking. That's a question. It wasn't a statement.
No, it's cricket.
Okay.
Anything is possible.
Right. But do you expect them to lose?
Put it this way. I'll say this and I'll say it again. Okay? Based on the... You shake your head.
Because it was a yes or no answer.
Do I expect them to lose? No.
Okay, now you could go on with your statement. Go ahead.
It makes you feel bad. Based on what St. George's have a high turnover of bringing players in the last few years. Somerset's team is more stable. And I will keep saying this until even when we see the team that's going to get picked for next week. I believe they have a stronger team from top to bottom. Whatever 11 they go with. Compared to the St. George's team.
Because now you said they didn't have a team.
Well, they'll find 11.
Okay.
You might have to pay it up. I already spoke to Neil Gibbons. He's got one pair left. He's got to find another pair to put on.
I need two pairs. I need one pair. You boys can't.
Charlie didn't know if it's going to be out fishing, so he might have to put the fishing off. So Charlie, I don't know. He might have to come in early. D- might not, But getting back to but I think when you have Alan Douglas Jr., who is leading the league.
No, don't talk about my team. Don't talk about my team. Talk about your team.
Let me assess the situation.
Okay.
When you have players like Alan Douglas Jr., who's leading the league in runs, who's coming off a 160 not out. It's a game changer. And St. George's has a couple of game changers. So, is it impossible? No. But a lot of things will have to go right. And I think the key to this year's cup match, well, it could be a possible win for St. George's or the embarrassment of a St. George's cup match, would be Alan Douglas Jr. Not only just with the bat, but also with the ball.
Finish?
Oh, yeah.
How does it get an embarrassment?
Because last year, very hard to, if you take out George O'Brien the last couple of years, it's been hard to really find a wicket taker in the St. George's team.
True. Got a point.
It's been proven. Right? George, probably would not say he's in the top shape right now. Look like he might be carrying an injury. Hopefully he recovers. But without the services of Stephen Kelly, who St. George's has relied on.
How you know?
Well, I've watched a couple of training sessions, and he's collected the balls for the coach and threw it back to the coach.
Okay.
So unless he's
they're saving him.
Well, you know more than me.
Okay, go.
And he hasn't been successful since 2000 and
Only seeing pictures can play on.
yeah, about 2000 and when?
The last time.
No, where the last time.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back. So it's gonna be interesting how that and be interesting this year, because last year when you had Kyle Hutzel, for the last couple of years, Kyle Hutzel's been one of the main wicket takers in the league. They're not taking it. I expect them to take him this year, but who knows about St. George's, what's going to happen. Now, we go back to my team? No, I know. You know, I'll let you respond to this. How's this? Because I don't want to make it all one way. It's going to be one way, but I don't want to make it all one way.
What do you want me to say? You mean evaluate a team that's not been picked?
Well, let's be honest, Earl. You do know the core of your team, right? There is a core.
Of what team? St. George?
Yeah.
No, I'll wait.
Everybody's spots up for.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Besides the captain?
Besides the captain.
Everybody.
Besides the captain.
Okay. So, what you think with a chemistry issue?
No.
Let me know chemistry issue?
No, man.
No,
man.
I tell you.
It's just like league teams.
Through.
Just like league teams. You go watch a training session. You don't see many guys training. Yeah? But on the Sunday, all it takes is one person. And you've seen it. You've seen it. Haven't you seen it?
That Granny must have called you and said, hey, I pray for you sometimes. I really do.
Don't worry about that, mate.
No, but interesting enough, Earl, you know, I've been going to check out some of the cup match training. And last week I mentioned the likes of Brian Hall being up at Somerset. Well, like I also mentioned now, Brian Hall being down in St. George.
Yeah.
So, interesting to see where
he shows up on
Saturday for the trial match. But also got to see Kamal Leverott in the middle last night up at Somerset. And once again, that's nothing that they're going to take. He's not an automatic shoo-in. He's come back for the trial match. And so interesting enough, he'll be playing Sunday also for Flats.
Yes.
And he said he had never played first division cricket, but this week he'll be playing for Flats. Now the team had already been picked for cup match, so no matter what he does on Sunday with Flats, yeah, obviously with his family, you know, real tight with Flats, the Rogers. But be interesting to see. I don't think some should be. It shouldn't be a long Saturday night, but as we know, St. George's will wait for them to pick the team, and then they'll make the final announcement. Probably St. George's, they like to make sure that everybody partakes in the beverages, so they probably had a team out around about 1:30. What's the earliest time you normally leave on that night? Well, the next morning, I should say. 1:32. Well, you're supposed to leave about 1:30, 2 o'clock.
What are you trying to say, Mr. Ford?
You know, St. George's.
Yeah, I'm him. I'm him.
It's coming up now. Here we go.
Yeah, everybody knows that. It's not a secret.
It'd be interesting. We could probably.
Where does Somerset start?
Where does start?
Yeah, where does Somerset start?
Where does start?
Get a Bermuda map. Show me where Somerset is.
Up by the gas station.
What Reyners, Ton, Asa, Rubus? What gas station you talking about?
Okay, go up the hill to Port Royal.
Yeah.
It's a sign.
Welcome to Sanders.
Ah, there you go.
But it doesn't say welcome to Somerset.
I don't want to get to semantics.
Well, if somebody overseas says, name the 9 parishes
Well,
where you started east.
I guess
Can you start in east?
50% of our people's going to say Somerset. They're not going to say Sands. And it is Sands, but someone might say Sandies too, right?
Sandies, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you Somersetese are in Sandies and, you know.
Semantics.
Yeah.
So what happens when you got a cop?
But you know
You got to hang on to something.
You know what, Jay, we're looking forward to 2 entertaining days of cricket. We have, as we did on the last show, talk about the incident that took place at St. David's where Lionel Cairn was deemed run out. I did get a phone call and I had a conversation with the president of the Umpires Association, who is also the president of Eastern Counties, Stephen Douglas, and he enlightened me on the rules. Let's take a listen to that interview with Stephen Douglas on the run-out of Lionel Cairn. Stephen Douglas, president of the Umpires Association. On Saturday, there was an incident at the Eastern County game, which, matter of fact, you happen to be the president of Eastern County. But to clarify the incident involving Lionel Cairn and the decision of being run out, can you clarify why the decision was made? And correctly, if I'm not mistaken, by the on-field umpires.
Well, the decision is made because if you read the law on no ball, and there's about 16 various paragraphs on it, and number 12 says ball not dead, and it reads like this: the ball does not become dead on the call of no ball. That's the first thing that people need to understand. And the second thing they need to look at is out from a no ball. When a no ball is called, neither batsman shall be out under any law except law 33, handle the ball, 34, hit the ball twice, 37, obstructing the field, or 38, run out. And because the ball was not there, the wicketkeeper, Mr. Sinclair Smith, got the ball and he ran up and he pulled the stump out of the ground because the bails were dislodged. And Mr. Lionel Cairn was out of his ground. The umpire was right in giving him out, run out.
And that should basically, you've given the description of which law was assessed for the decision of giving him out,
yes.
Run out.
Yes.
And you are satisfied with the decision?
More than satisfied, because he followed the law to the letter. I mean, people had to understand, right? It's like if a ball is bowled and the ball is hit for 4 or 6, the 4 runs goes to the batsman, but it's still a no ball. So the no ball, when the no ball is scored, the no ball goes to the actual column, but the runs goes to the batter. So that's why there's other 3 ways of handling the ball, hitting the ball, and obstructing the field come into play because the ball is still alive.
Open up a world of music at your fingertips and access millions of songs from free with D-Music, exclusively from Digicel. With D-Music, you can stream and download songs and create playlists of your favorite artists to fit your lifestyle. Whether you're working out at the gym, getting ready for a Friday night, or just chilling at home, D-Music comes with 1 gig of free data to stream and download songs without it impacting your data usage. That's 32 hours worth of music. Visit us in-store or online to see how you can get D-Music today. Well, Jay, that was Stephen Douglas explaining some of the rules. I don't always know or portray to know all the rules. He laid out the interpretation using other rules as well as the rule we used in our summation of whether or not we felt the correct decision was made. And hopefully his clarification on it brings an end to some of it. I know some players will not be totally satisfied with that, but let's hope we can move on.
Well, I'll tell you, Earl, and I mentioned this in the broadcast that day, and I mentioned it last week. When we're talking about rules in any sport, a lot of it is based on an example, the spirit of the rule, and the interpretation. And sometimes those three things are not as clear as day.
No.
And that's what leads to these things.
Yeah.
So no matter what we may think, it's up to the umpire to cipher out those three things: the letter of the law, the spirit of the law, and the interpretation for him now to put out a result. And that's
the bottom line.
Bottom line.
Yeah. Lionel Can has sought to get an answer to why he was given out on Saturday during the Eastern County Cup match between St. David's Cricket Club and Bailey's Bay at Lord's in St. David's. Can went as far as to contacting Johnny Singer, who is the Laws of Cricket advisor to the MCC, who, after watching the video supplied, came to the following conclusion. He quotes, "Dear Mr. Can, thank you very much for the question you sent in with the video. As the video explains, the ball is certainly not dead on the call of no ball, nor is it dead when the ball initially puts down the wicket. When the ball is in the wicketkeeper's hands, it is for the bowlers and umpire to determine whether the ball has finally settled." He goes on to say, although the action of the umpire, who turned to signal the no ball to the scorers, would suggest that he thought the ball was dead in accordance with Law 2.142 and 3.2, even if it were not dead. A batsman cannot be given out stumped from a no ball. For a batsman to be out stumped as opposed to run out, he must not be attempting a run. See Law 39.1a. And there must be no other fielder involved than the wicketkeeper. Law 39.1. In addition, although either batsman can be run out off a no ball, the striker cannot be run out if under the Law 38.2 no ball has been called and he is out of his ground not attempting a run and the wicket is fairly put down by the wicketkeeper without the intervention of another fielder. All these criteria apply in this situation as a no ball has been delivered and the batsman is clearly not attempting a run. Thus, I will conclude that this appeal, whether for a stumping or run out, should not be given out as the ball bowled was a no ball. I understand that you were the batsman in question, so my sympathy goes to you over what was clearly an unfortunate dismissal. End quote. Well, Jay, I can categorically say right now that Emerson Carrington will not umpire cup match as he will be umpiring in the CPL. Let's get that interview with Emerson Carrington earlier today. Well, Emerson Carrington, no cup match for you. You've been selected to umpire at the CPL. How did that come about?
Oh, okay. I was on assignment in Canada, the recently concluded under 19 ICC Americas qualifiers, which involved Bermuda, Canada, and USA. After my first game, the development officer from ICC's America, Ms. Ferragossi, she just asked me, she said an opening existed, came up at the last minute, and asked me if I was willing to fill that post in Florida. And straight away, I accepted.
How does that make you feel, knowing you, first of all, you were somewhere else and you were recognized as an umpire that could possibly fulfill some big shoes, because the CPL is a huge thing throughout the Caribbean?
Yes, it is. Yes, I'm proud, I'm thankful, I feel blessed. It's good to be recognized for what you do. Umpiring is something that I'm passionate about. I really enjoy doing it. So yes, a bit nervous. At the same time, I'm really pleased with how I've developed and the opportunities that are coming with that.
You've been umpiring for a number of years now. What are some of the most memorable things that your career has gotten you, and what are some of the things that you would, if you had the second chance, change?
Well, two things stand out really. My first county, Eastern Counties, I was selected as the third umpire. So on my way down to the I think it was at Bay then, down to the game, I got a call from one of the standing umpires who wasn't feeling well. And he said, Carrington, I'm not feeling well, so you have to go on the field. And straight away I started to panic, because that was a big game, my first major game. I got on there, saw the crowds and stuff. And I went on the field, initially had that nervous thing, and then in my mind, you're trying not to mess up, trying to get every call correct. So it was kind of nerve-wracking at first, but then as the game progressed and I got into it, just in my mind just started to treat it like another league game, and then it sort of came in and turned out being a good game, well contested, and fortunately no major errors on my part. And the second thing again was my first cup match at Somerset. It was about 2 years or 3 years back. Again, a major event, the biggest cricketing event in Bermuda, and being out there again, the crowds in such close proximity, the noise, the ambient noise. I was just hoping, every edge, that I heard it loud, that there was no contentious decisions, and then coming out of that, I think I gave Junior Tucker Mr. Cup match out first ball LBW to George O'Brien, and that was a big thing. But I think the cameras reviewed the decision and realized he was out. So I felt good about the decision. Not good that he was out, but I mean good that I got that right. And saying that, how people would think that Junior give Mr. Cup match out first ball. So those three things really stand out in my career so far.
Now, do you know what matches you have, or will you be umpiring for the CPL?
Yeah, this year the CPL in Florida, a place called Lauderhill in Fort Lauderdale. There are 4 matches there, 2 matches on the 5th and 2 matches on the 6th. I've been assigned the matches on the 6th. I'm 4th umpire for the first game. I think it's St. Kitts versus Guyana. And then the second game I'm actually on field with a South African, I think, umpire. And that's Barbados versus Jamaica, I think. Yeah, Barbados versus Jamaica, second game.
All right, well, good luck, and we'll keep in touch with how you're making out, and obviously you can tune in to Cup Match from Fort Lauderdale.
Of course, thanks so much.
Bermuda, listen up. D-Music is here exclusively for Digicel customers. Open up a world of music at your fingertips and access millions of songs from free. With D-Music, you can easily search for your favorite artists and create playlists to fit your lifestyle. Plus, you have the option to download music to your device so you can find a song for any moment, even when offline. D-Music comes with 1 gig of free data to stream and download songs without it impacting your data usage. That's 32 hours worth of music. Visit us in-store or online to see how you can get D-Music today.
Jay, yesterday, the opposition, OBA, announced their shadow cabinet with Ben Smith, the national swimming coach, announced as the shadow minister for sport. I got the chance earlier today to sit down and talk to Ben about sports in general, not just swimming. Let's get that interview with Ben Smith. Ben Smith, newly appointed shadow minister responsible for sport. What is it that you bring to that portfolio of shadow minister of sport?
Well, obviously I've spent a long time dealing with the youth with my connection to swimming. Being responsible for the Whites Island program over the last 15 years, I see what we can do when we kind of put our mind and money behind trying to give a sport to maybe athletes that don't have the ability to kind of have access to certain things. I've also obviously been to the highest level of the sport, so to me, I believe that if we spend more time and energy on working with our young people, developing them from all different levels, I think sport is a good vehicle for us to do some important changes to what we can do with our country.
How do you plan to work alongside the Minister of Sport to make sure that there's some synergy in your ideas and the government's ideas in helping the wider community to mold into what we want them to be in sport?
I think it's just going to be important for me to communicate with him, have an opportunity to sit down and see exactly what his position is on sport and what direction he would like to take things, and hopefully be able to give some of my thoughts to him and see if we potentially can work together to work on something that I think is important to a lot of people in Bermuda. You see the way we kind of gather around when we have Bermuda representing at any kind of sporting event. I think that if we can do more focusing on that and give more opportunities to young people, I definitely want to be a part of that. So if I can work along with him to get to that goal, I think it will be great.
When you were asked to take up that position, what was some of the things that you thought about before actually accepting?
Obviously, for me, being branding to politics and and being lucky enough for the people in 31 to elect me, I came in with the idea that I was going to serve. I didn't know it was going to be this fast, but because of my background in sport, I felt that I had things that I could offer. And when our new leader came to me and asked me if I would serve, I gladly accepted, because I think that I can bring things to the table.
How much healing does the party have to do following last Tuesday's result?
I think quite a bit. I understand that there are, within the party and within the country, there's some healing that needs to take place. During an election cycle, obviously a lot of things are said during that period which can upset a lot of people within the country. And it takes time for everybody to kind of get back together and understand that we're all in this together, and we have to strive to be better as a country. I think our leader said it well yesterday when she stated that mistakes were made and things needed to change and things will change, and as we kind of assess where we are and where we want to be, we'll continue to kind of work together to figure out what's the best way forward.
Your thoughts on Ben Smith being appointed as the Shadow Minister for Sport?
Obviously, for something that means a lot to us, and for time and time we've seen ministers and shadow ministers being appointed that doesn't really have a background in the sport or a sports background, and a lot of times they have to learn on the job of sports culture.
Okay.
The organizations, how everything works. Not to say that nobody who doesn't have a sports background can become a sports minister or a shadow minister, but there's going to be a learning curve.
Yes.
Ben Smith's been involved for many years, so he'll understand the inner workings of what organizations need from government, because obviously he's had to apply and do these things.
Yes.
He would know where a lot of the red tape and where things could be done better, because he's had been on the other side. So we have more of an understanding. I'm just glad that the opposition has found somebody who's passionate about that ministry.
Right.
So instead of putting him somewhere else, using him at his strengths, and hope it builds well for Ben Smith and the sporting and social community.
Yes, indeed. Well, from the government or opposition to basketball, Chris Crumpler will be taking several youth players to Orlando this coming week. Let's get that interview with Chris Crumpler. Chris Crumpler, coordinator for the BBYF program, getting ready to take a group of youngsters to a new venture, something that they'll see for the first time. Some of them, others have been abroad to play, but the significance of the trip, training, and playing.
Yeah, first of all, I'm just grateful that the BBA is supporting us and making sure this happens, to our sponsors to allow this to happen. We got 38 boys traveling away with 4 teams, and it's very significant. Just give the exposure, the training, like you said, leading up, all the training that we've done here at Barkley, at Delwood, at Cedar Bridge, at the beach. Now it culminates to this 1 week, and we're going to focus on training as well. So it's not go play games and come back. The focus is they put more time in training than they actually do play games, and then they get evaluated from ex-NBA players. They all get a report card, and then we get to look at film of them playing and training, and so breaking down film. And on top of that, just the whole experience, they get to play at Eckerd College, a Division II school in right out Sarasota, Florida. They go to IMG Academy and play a game against them. Then they go to play at the Orlando Magic practice facility in the Big Six Series tournament, where they all play 2 games on the Saturday before we go home. So just a plethora of experiences, and then all-day training from 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So,
what has the preparation been like here in Bermuda for this huge adventure?
Well, it's just been a lot of people involved, without, the parent reps who volunteer, the coaches who volunteer, myself, the BBA, and our parents. None of this stuff even happens, right? The kids may want it, but, I'm just grateful. I'm really grateful for our parents. I'm really grateful for the coaches. I'm really grateful for the players, man. I love the game, and I'm glad to see the game getting this type of opportunity for our young people.
Your expectations for this group overall, obviously is not to win, but hopefully just develop?
Yeah, it is to develop, number one. But number two, see the standard, so they can see why we're pushing them so hard on this end. But also we got a couple players that are college players that we want to get scouted. I mean, Kobe Reed is a 6'3" point guard with 2 years left of high school. He's a number 2 player rated in the whole entire Caribbean by the NBA scouts. And we got a couple other young players that's coming up who are just coming into high school. This will be their first experience, who are already dunking the basketball. We just want them to develop the game, understanding and awareness and the hunger. And just for our young players to see those guys compete at a high level and just watch that grooming process, that mentoring process of seeing a young Bermudian get college opportunities. We currently have Michael, who came through the program, who's playing at Thomas College, and Kaylin is currently overseas, Rise currently overseas, Niles currently overseas, Johns. All these guys came through the BBY program last year. So it's also, they can see just on social media watching these guys, if I just put in the work, opportunity may come.
All right, well, we'll be back in touch with you when you return to see how that all panned out.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it, Earl.
Earl, it's been amazing what Chris Crumpler has done since he has stepped back on this island.
Mm-hmm.
From the day he stepped back, he's been a man with a mission. And for us looking from the outside in, we've watched him, go about his mission. And things have changed.
Mm-hmm.
It's taken different directions. But you could see going from his sporting ability, which you'd probably deem him as the best basketball player we've had for a while,
mm-hmm.
next to Phillips, Sullivan Phillips. But also his work with the youth,
mm-hmm.
and what he's done in mentoring and open up doors, not just for the basketball community, but for Bermuda in general.
Yes.
So as part of Islandstats, we just want to thank Chris Crumpler for what you're doing, and keep doing what you're doing, because as much as we say we love to hear the great stories of the professionals we just talked about in our key, but we also like to know that there's others out there mentoring our youngsters to thrive.
Open up a world of music at your fingertips and access millions of songs from free with D-Music, exclusively from Digicel. With D-Music, you can stream and download songs and create playlists of your favorite artists to fit your lifestyle. Whether you're working out at the gym, getting ready for a Friday night, or just chilling at home, D-Music comes with 1 gig of free data to stream and download songs without it impacting your data usage. That's 32 hours worth of music. Visit us in-store or online to see how you can get D-Music today.
Well, Jay, finally, the Queen's Baton has departed Bermuda. 3 long days of touring the island, letting youngsters and adults see what the Gold Coast has produced as the baton that contains the Queen's message. We saw Olympians such as Trey Houston, Julian Fletcher, and others, Couture Horton, Parent Chief, hold the baton. We even had Paralympian Uche De Silva Andrade hold the baton. Quite a few youngsters. We were in St. George on Fort St. Catherine Beach. We went to the Government House. City Hall was yesterday. Somerset, Dockyard. It's been all over. It went up top of the lighthouse. I wasn't going up there, but it went on top of the lighthouse. But just to let people become aware of what the Queen's Baton is. And it's one of those things that excites athletes, because they know now they are less than a year away from the actual event, which will take place in April of 2018 in Australia.
Yeah, we saw that exact same thing with the Cup for America's Cup when it came to the island. Exact same thing for the Olympics. It brings that energy prior to the event. And like you said, it gets everybody now the realization we're less than a year away. And for the athletes, now your timeline, you're on the last stage of your timeline. So the excitement it brings not only for the fans, but also for the youngsters who, hey, a little enthusiasm and a little incentive. And it's always a good feeling, like you said, when you see our para-athletes holding it. You just got to feel good.
Yeah.
Got to feel good about it. So,
well, let's get the 3-day visit of the Queen's Baton Relay in Bermuda. The Queen's baton was greeted fondly in the East End earlier today as Trey Houston took time out to hold the baton that contains the Queen's message he is hoping to hear at the opening ceremony in Australia come next year. The baton moved to St. Peter's Church where officials were greeted and given a tour and a history lesson. The baton made its way to the Fort St. Catherine Beach where a group of youngsters from a government camp performed a beach relay with the baton. Members of the traveling party made their way to the National Sports Center where a all-girls sports expo was taking place, and the young ladies looked in awe as they handled and looked at the baton. Double Youth Commonwealth Games medalist Matthew Oliveira handing the baton to the governor who welcomed everyone.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, High Commissioner of Australia, President Judy Simmons of the Bermuda Olympics Association, Vice President Yassin of the Commonwealth Games Federation for the Americas. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to Government House this afternoon to present the Queen's baton as it travels through 71 countries and territories on its way to the Gold Coast in Australia for the 2018 Commonwealth Games. Let me also particularly welcome the members of the Bermudian youth team who've just come back from the Commonwealth Youth Games in the Bahamas, and my congratulations to all of them on their success.
It was a full day of activity for day 2 of the Queen's baton visit to Bermuda, with the baton making its way to the National Sports Center this morning, where Olympian Keturah Horton Parent-Chief was conducting a diving camp with youngsters all having a chance to touch the baton. The procession then made its way to City Hall with members of the Bermuda rugby team taking the baton on a train ride.
You've got the baton.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to City Hall. For those who don't know me, my name is Judy Simons. I'm the president of the Bermuda Olympic Association, and we welcome you all here today. Today is yet another milestone in the journey of the Queen's Baton Relay that travels around all our Commonwealth countries. And it's with great pride and privilege that Bermuda has been a part of this since the baton started in the late 60s. So it's without hesitation and pleasure that I introduce to you the Mayor of the City of Hamilton, Mr. Charles Gosling, to say a few words.
Thank you, Judy. Premier of Bermuda, the Honourable David Burt, JP, MP, High Commissioner of Australia, His Excellency Mr. Tony Negus, Vice President of the Americas, Mr. Callum Newman Jassin, Bermuda Olympic Association President, Mrs. Judy Simons, event organisers, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the City of Hamilton, as well as my fellow Bermudians, it is indeed my honour to welcome and receive the Queen's Baton Relay to Hamilton, Bermuda, as it makes its way around the world prior to the start of the Commonwealth Games. In a world where division and hostility seem to dominate the headlines, it is events like the Commonwealth Games that we can look to unite us, and I have no doubt that these games will be a showcase of camaraderie and sportsmanship mixed with competition. The very message that the Queen's baton carries across the globe from Her Majesty. These island shores are rich in sport as well as culture, and I have no doubt that our young athletes traveling to the Gold Coast in 2018 will be exemplary representatives for our island. My many thanks to the Bermuda Olympic Association and those that take charge of the Queen's baton and ensure its safe passage worldwide as it brings people together through their mutual love of competitive sport. again, welcome to City Hall. Welcome to Hamilton, Bermuda at its best. And now it is indeed an honor again to pass on the baton to our new Premier, the Honourable David Burt, JP MP.
Come out here, Charles, so there's an official photograph. I now would like to ask our Honourable Premier, Mr. Burt, to say a few words.
Good afternoon. Right Worshipful Mayor of Hamilton, Charles Gosling, Australian High Commissioner, His Excellency, Mr. Tony Negus, the Vice President of the Commonwealth Games Federation of Americas, Mr. Kamal Jamin Yassin, President of the Bermuda Olympic Association, Ms. Judy Simons, members of the Bermuda Olympic Association, Mr. Stanley Douglas, Carlos Lee, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to stand with you this afternoon to receive the Queen's baton on behalf of Bermuda. Bermuda is proud to participate in the longest ever Queen's Baton Relay. The event is planned to last for 388 days, with baton staying in Bermuda for 3 days. During its short visit, it has already been to many of the island's key locations, including Government House, Digicel Lighthouse, and Fort Hamilton, to name a few. I am particularly proud of Bermuda's young people who will have an opportunity to travel to the Gold Coast in Australia next year to participate in the Commonwealth Games. They will represent our island on the world stage and compete amongst their peers, some 7,000 athletes from 70 plus nations. And I know they will meet, speech is gone. And I know that they will meet with pressure and grace as they represent Bermuda on the world stage. I was almost finished, so we're good to go. We salute the spirit of the Queen's baton and the spirit that it represents, a unifying force of the Commonwealth Games, and champion Bermuda's participation. Thank you very much.
I'm now going to ask the everyone's taller than me all of a sudden. I'm now going to ask the High Commissioner of Canada to say a few words.
Mr. Premier, Mr. Mayor, distinguished guests, citizens of Bermuda. As has been said, I'm the Australian High Commissioner to Canada, but I also have responsibility for Bermuda. So whilst I'm based in Ottawa, one of my great joys is to be able to come to Bermuda once a year and talk to the officials down here about Australia and Bermuda relationships, and that's part of why I'm here this week. It's an honour to be back here in your beautiful city. It's also an honour to be part of the Queen's Baton Relay, which, as you've heard from the Premier, will do a trip around the world through 70 countries before reaching Australia, and then doing a tour of Australia before reaching the Gold Coast for the Commonwealth Games, which start on the 4th of April next year. As you've heard, it's almost 7,000 athletes and officials from 70 countries around the world, and we think it's going to be obviously the best Commonwealth Games ever. We look forward to welcoming your team down under. Your youth team at the Youth Commonwealth Games just recently has won a number of medals and done exceptionally well, so congratulations to you on that front, and we hope that your senior team can repeat that performance in Australia next year. The Gold Coast, like Bermuda, is also a beautiful city, a very tropical city, and I think your athletes will fit in very well into our tropical environment as well. Good luck to the Bermudian team, and as I said, we welcome you down under for the Commonwealth Games on the Gold Coast in 2018. Thank you very much.
Why don't you stay on that side? And then Charles, you stand here. Last, by no means least, is a very good friend to Bermuda and to me personally. He is the Vice President of the Commonwealth Games Federation of Americas, of which Bermuda is under his charge. He keeps me in check 24/7, 365, but it's with great pleasure that I introduce to you Callum Yassin Humane Yassin. I can never get your right name, Callum, but it's an honor. It's an honor to have you here and to speak to us all.
Thank you, Judy. Mr. Premier, Mr. Mayor, I wish to adopt the protocol that has been given. And I wish to say how happy I am, how happy the team for the Queen's Baton Relay are to be in Bermuda. This is a very beautiful and picturesque island. I now see why all the tourists come here, sir. It's a beautiful island. On behalf of the President of the Commonwealth Games Federation, Louis Martin, I bring greetings to you, sir, your government, and the people of Bermuda. We are happy that the baton is here. And I've been told, sir, that as one of the youngest premiers in the Commonwealth, youth is on your side, and so sports should get much more funding. You know, politicians basically looking for votes. But when you have a young premier who looks very athletic, and and this look is not deceiving. I'm certain that the Bermuda Olympic Association and other members would be able to get a little bit more from the government.
No pressure.
The Queen's Baton commenced its journey on the 13th of March this year at Buckingham Palace, when Queen Elizabeth bit the baton off and she placed a message in the baton. That message will be read on the 4th of April next year when the Commonwealth Games open in the Gold Coast. That message cannot be opened now, but I'm told that the Queen may have sent the code to this baton to the youngest premier in the Commonwealth. If he's got that code, he may be able to open it and read the message for us. In conclusion, sir, we are happy to be here. And I really want to commend my good friend Judy and her executive of the Bermuda Olympic Committee for all the hard work they have done. She makes a contribution, and it's good. It's always good to say this when you're in someone's country. She always makes a contribution at our meetings, both regionally and internationally. And I think she's done credit to you. I hope the people of Bermuda, and I'm certain about it so far, are enjoying the baton. We're happy to be here, and we want as many people as possible to be able to touch the baton, to have photographs of this baton. Because at the end of the day, when you really look at it, this baton is symbolic of the Commonwealth, and the amount of persons who want to have a photograph in it, who wants to touch it, definitely shows that the Commonwealth is strong, and we all need to make it stronger. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. At this particular time, what we're going to do now is have the Premier officially hand the baton over to the captain of the male under-19 team. I'm also sure the press would like a little bit of coverage before he goes off. But in the meantime, can I ask the Premier and the dignitaries to come forward, and Aaron to come forward to receive.
At City Hall, the Premier, following a few speeches, then handed the baton off to Aaron Evans, who led the athletes out of the City Hall grounds.
Yeah, pretty much.
The baton then made its way to Winreach, where Paralympian Yushea Andre de Silva was there. She took the time out of her training schedule to hold the baton and hear the message.
It was really elegant and really beautiful as well. I think I remember that when I held that. Yeah.
Members of the Wark Academy sports fraternity was on hand at the school to greet the baton. The baton then moved to Dockyard, where Olympian Julian Fletcher handed the baton off to a young lady before the day came to an end. And what a wonderful way to end this Digicel Sports Show right here on Islandstats.com. I'm your host, Earl Baston, and Juggling Jay wearing Bermuda.
There you go.
We're going to have these colors as the national colors changed very shortly. I don't know what it's going to be, but the red and blue is OUT.